Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials or any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
So let us continue with Cloud Foundry. Cloud Foundry is a PaaS, platform as a service. And I told you that platform as a service or Cloud Foundry is nothing but distributed software running on multiple virtual machines. Okay. So when I say the distributed software running on multiple virtual machines, the next question may come, hey, where are these virtual machines provisioned? So normally we provision virtual machines on some infrastructure as service provider like AWS or Google Cloud, or even you can have your own data center. Inside your own data center, you can use VMware vSphere as your infrastructure as service provider. So what I mean to say is PaaS will be installed on top of some infrastructure provider, right? Okay. Now, when I say Cloud Foundry, you understood that there will be a lot of virtual machines. So I'll just, if this block, you can treat as Cloud Foundry. So there will be a VM called as cell. Cell is a VM inside which your application containers will run. Okay. So there will be minimum 3 cells. There has to be minimum 3 cells to achieve high availability. But of course, it's up to our installation. We can have 3, 5, 7. Normally, odd numbers are preferred for high availability. Okay. Now, inside Cloud Foundry, we do not use Docker for creating containers. We use another tool called as Garden to create containers, right? Garden is another tool for creating containers. Actually, Garden is a specification or an interface, I can say, and there are multiple implementations. Like Guardian is an implementation of Garden for Linux-based machines. Like suppose if your operating system on your VMware is Ubuntu or Red Hat or Fedora or any Linux based machine, Guardian will be the implementation. Or we use another word called as Garden Runc. Both are same. Garden Runc, Guardian, both are same. But for Windows based machines, there is an implementation of Garden called as Greenhouse. This is for Windows based machines. So whatever might be the implementation in your VM, in the cell VM, there will be Garden running. Either it can be Guardian for Linux based machine. That means on this VM, if Linux is the operating system, then Guardian. If on this machine, if Windows is operating system, then we may be having Greenhouse. So on every cell, Garden will be running. It is similar to Docker to compare. Okay. And on every cell, there will be one more component called as representative. Rep, I would say, to represent one cell. So like that, there will be gardens and representatives on all the cells. Okay. Now, my requirement is, this is my laptop. And here in my C drive, let's say I have a.var. Now what I want to do is I want my application to 5 instances of my application to run on Cloud Foundry. So on my laptop, what I need to do, I need to install Cloud Foundry CLI, command line interface. Once I install it, then I'll be able to execute commands like cf push application name. I can give my app as application name. And where is my application file? -p c drive /a.var. And I want 5 instances, so I'll use -i 5 -m memory. I want 2G for each container, for each application container. That's all. If I execute a command like this, then somebody should be there on Cloud Foundry. Some component should be there on Cloud Foundry to take this request, right? So on Cloud Foundry, there will be one more software running in its own VM, and this is nothing but Cloud Controller. See, Cloud Controller. Cloud Controller exposes a REST API. So actually, whenever I am doing a CF push, that client will make a REST API call to Cloud Controller, and they'll communicate. Now the Cloud Controller, once it receives a request, see in the request there will be metadata like what is application name, the number of instances, how much memory to allocate, etc. Right? This metadata will be uploaded to a database called as CCDB, Cloud Controller Database, we call CCDB. And the application binaries, like in this case a var file, will be uploaded to blob store, binary large object store, right? So suppose if I'm deploying, if this infrastructure provider is AWS, on AWS this will be a blob store, right? On AWS it is used to store files, binary large objects, right? Buckets, basically in AWS we call buckets. So this blob store will be a bucket in AWS to store large files. Okay, now request came to launch 5 instances, right? This is one request. This request has to be translated into some steps or tasks to be so that finally we'll get 5 instances. Now CC bridge, Cloud Controller, what it will do is it will delegate to CC bridge, Cloud Controller bridge, and ask it, hey, I got this request, create task definitions for this requests. Cloud Controller will delegate to CC bridge. CC bridge understands, okay, this is a push request. So for every push, there will be 2 tasks. What? First task is to create an image, application image, and second task is to launch the instances, the number of instances. So CC bridge, what it will do is it will take the request, convert it to tasks, and that tasks will be posted onto something called as BBS, Bulletin Board System. Okay, another component running in its own VM, BBS, Bulletin Board System, which also will be like a, which also will be containing a scheduler. All right. So CC bridge will delegate to BBS and send the task definitions. Right? Tasks are not yet executed, only task definitions are created and they are posted onto BBS. Now BBS will store these task definitions inside its own database, and BBS uses a tool called as etcd or HCD we call. Actually, HCD is a tool for storing key value pairs, and BBS uses that as its database for storing task definitions. Okay, now BBS has some tasks to be executed or to be scheduled. So now, what is the first task? Creating the image. For creating an application image, some scripts have to be executed. Some logic has to be executed to create an image. But where should that execute? So for creating an image, also we need a container. I have 3 cells. On which cell should the container be launched? Right? So now the BBS will delegate to one more component called as Auctioneer. Okay. Auctioneer, as the name says, it will conduct an auction. What is this auction? Actually, Auctioneer will talk to all representatives in the cells and ask all the representatives to participate in an auction. What do I mean that they will participate in an auction? Actually, normally in an auction, what we do is we bid. We'll say, okay, I have a capacity to spend this much on a particular project whenever we are bidding for a project in an auction, right? Similarly, the representatives, what they do is they send the information about the virtual machine, like, hey, on my VM, I have this much of CPU free, this much of memory free. So like that, all the representatives, whenever they are asked to participate in auction, they will send the health information to auctioneer. How much CPU is free, how much memory is free, etc. Then the auctioneer, based on some algorithm, it will select one of the representative, right? And it will ask the selected representative, hey, representative, you have one. Now, give me one container, right? Now, representative, it has to create a container, right? It will delegate to one more component called as executor. And executor will use Garden API to launch a container. And the container's handle will be given to BBS, right? So now the BBS, what it will do? It will execute this task, creation of the image. Basically, when I say execution of this task, creation image, there will be some scripts which will be executed. Once the scripts are executed, the application image will be created. Those scripts in Cloud Foundry are called as Buildpacks. They are actually, the name says, Buildpacks are nothing but some scripts which will build your image, right? So in Cloud Foundry, there are multiple build packs: Java build pack, Python, Ruby, .NET build packs, right? Now, in this case, I have pushed a var file, a Java application. So automatically it will identify, okay, this is a Java application, so I need to use Java build pack. So the scripts inside Java build pack will be executed. Those scripts, what they will do? They will download the JRE. They may download a Tomcat, whatever is required for running your app. The Java build pack scripts will download. And now this container will have all the files required for running your application, right? The container is having some state, the files required now, right? The state of this container will be saved. That saved state, we call it as a droplet. It is nothing but our application image.
Hey viewers, our Master in DevOps engineering program can help you to hone the skills necessary to succeed in high-level DevOps positions. So what are you waiting for? Enroll now and earn certification that show you are keeping pace with today's technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
So in Cloud Foundry, an application image, we call it as droplet. So if I ask you a question, what is the output after buildpacks are executed? After buildpacks are executed in a container, the container will contain the state for the application. So that if it is saved, that is nothing but application image. Application image in Cloud Foundry is called as droplet. Now droplet, once it is created, it will be uploaded to blob store. Okay, so creation of image is done. This process of creating the image, we call it as staging. So staging of our application is done. Okay, then what is the next step? Launching the instances. How many instances in this case? 5. So now BBS has to schedule 5 containers for launching. Again, it will ask the auctioneer, hey auctioneer, I want 5 containers. Go and conduct an auction and give me 5 containers. So auctioneer follows the same process. It will launch 5 containers. And inside those containers, the droplet will be downloaded from the blob store and it will be executed. So my application containers will be running. So this is the flow of CF push, what happens, right? And one more thing, there will be one more component in Cloud Foundry called as Converger, a very important thing, Converger. Actually, once any container starts, it sends heartbeats to Converger. Heartbeats means what? Some requests which are saying I am alive, etc. So every application will send heartbeats to Converger. What if the application container crashes due to some reasons? Converger will not receive the heartbeats. So it will identify that the container has crashed due to some reason and it will ask the BBS to schedule the task again. So again, one more container may be created. So once we push our application and we say I want 5 instances, Cloud Foundry will guarantee that 5 instances will be running. If any of the application container instance crashes, automatically it will be restarted. Who will restart? Converger will restart. Actually, the combination of Auctioneer and Converger, we call these 2 components as a brain of Cloud Foundry. Okay, these are the 2 important components, Auctioneer and Converger. We call it as brain. Okay, any doubts till now? Let me know if you have any queries, or if you need some more understanding, feel free to ask me. Is that clear? Just visualize. Are you able to visualize the whole push process? Don't worry. Actually, for the first time, if you are listening, you will feel that this flow is big. We'll go through this flow multiple times for multiple scenarios. So you'll get it into your mind automatically. But just try to check if you have understood the concepts. Don't try to remember. Maybe you may not be able to remember, but have you understood the concepts or not? Yes, any queries?
Hello.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure. You were explaining about cells and all, correct? So
Cell.
yeah, does each cell pod what you mentioned?
Sorry?
No, is each cell considered to be a pod here in Cloud Foundry?
Cells are VMs, correct. Cells are VMs.
No, but now what I'm asking is it like a pod or it's a different?
No. Forget about pods.
Okay.
This is a VM. In Cloud
Okay.
Foundry, they don't use pods.
Okay.
And in Cloud Foundry, they are not using Docker. Garden is similar to Docker. And
Okay. So
Cloud Foundry internally is providing all the functionalities similar to Kubernetes.
yeah. Okay. So you mean to say that each cell will contain more containers?
Yes. Suppose in my in my organization, suppose if I'm running 10 applications, let's say application A, application B, like that application that 26 applications are running, and for each application there are 5 containers each. So totally 26 into 5. I have 130 containers running. 130 containers will be running distributed in all the cells. Suppose if I have 5 cells, 5
Okay.
cells will contain 130 containers. Okay.
Oh, okay. So each cell can contain more containers.
Yes, one VM can have multiple containers.
So you are then in Kubernetes world, it's considered to be a pod. In Cloud Foundry world, it's the cell. May I correct?
Sorry. Forget about pod. See, in Kubernetes, what I told you is, let me just go through that. That's it. 1 minute. I'll just go through that. Yes. In Kubernetes, I told you that there will be one master node and worker nodes.
Okay.
Workers are VMs in Kubernetes, and inside worker nodes, pod will be created, and pod will contain containers. So
Okay.
worker node in Kubernetes is equivalent to cell in Cloud Foundry. Okay.
Okay. So so here, how does this orchestration get achieved here?
The Cloud Foundry is taking care of deciding where to launch your 5 instances. Actually, in Cloud Foundry, who is deciding where to launch 5 instances? Auctioneer.
Auctioneer. Okay.
So we just say, hey, I want 5 containers or 10 containers. Auctioneer will decide where to launch. And if any container crashes also, we don't need to worry. Converger will take care of restarting them. So the orchestration is taken care internally by Cloud Foundry.
Okay, that's what it's taken care internally by Auctioneering and Converger.
Auctioneer. And scheduler will take care of scheduling the tasks like this. So whenever we fire any command, it will result in one of the tasks. And scheduler will schedule the tasks.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Hey, how do you define the capacity for cell? Cell is like a VM, right? So if you want to define
Abhinesh, your voice is not clear. Can you come again?
yeah, just asking like how do you define the capacity for cell? Because you have a whole lot of containers, right? So you need allocate memory and CPU, right? So is that like how you do it?
Yes, Avinash. So actually, if I am your administrator who is installing Cloud Foundry, I need to do capacity planning. So capacity planning depends on various factors. Like in your Cloud Foundry installation, we'll discuss later. We need to decide how many organizations do you want to support, and how many spaces you want, and how many applications maximum you will be deploying. Those all have to be planned. Okay, don't worry. Right now, I have not yet introduced the concept of organization, spaces, and all. Once I introduce, automatically your question will get answered. If not, again, raise a question again. Okay, it will get answered.
Sure.
Okay. So this is the architecture or CF push. Now, my application name is my app and 5 instances are running. Now what I want is, maybe I want 10 instances. I want to scale up. So very simple. I can just say CF scale is a command I need to fire. What is the app name? My app. My app -i 10. That's all. If I fire this command, the request will go to Cloud Controller, and now Cloud Controller will delegate to CC bridge. Trying to scale, right? Do you think application image has to be again created? Not required. Already application image is created, and that is droplet. Droplet is uploaded to blob store. Same droplet can be reused for, right? So in this case, scale request to Cloud Controller will result in only one task, launching instances, extra instances, right? So that will be scheduled by BBS, and again the same process, 5 more containers will be created. So scaling is very simple by just firing a command, right? This is manual scaling by using CF scale. Later we will see auto scaling also. Okay. Okay, fine. Now we understood it. How do I access my application? That's fine. I deployed 5 instances or 10 instances. How do I access my application? Let me address it. First of all, let me ask you a simple question. How many cloud controller VMs do you think is required? One cloud controller VM, is it sufficient to achieve high availability? No. What happens if cloud controller VM crashes? My Cloud Foundry is not highly available, right? So in production, actually, there will be multiple cloud controller VMs to achieve high availability. Okay. Then your question may be, hey, when you said CF push, I told that CF push, the client will make a REST API call to cloud controller. But now there are 3 cloud controllers. How does a client know to which cloud controller to send the request, right? So actually, before cloud controller, there will be one more component called as router. Router also is part of Cloud Foundry. Router also is a separate component running in its own VM, router. So your request will go to router. Router will take a decision to route it to one of the cloud controller. Okay. Now tell me, if there is only one router component, one router VM, again, is it highly available? What if router crashes, right? So actually in production, there may be more than one router, let's say 3 routers. Then client will make a request to which router? So before router, there will be one more thing called as HA proxy. HA proxy. So client will actually make a request to HA proxy. Proxy will route it to one of the router. Router will route it to one of the cloud controller. This is the actual production setup. Now, don't ask me, what if HA proxy crashes? So HA, the name itself says highly available proxy. So it implements some techniques, like there will be a master and there will be slave. If master goes down, immediately slave will become the master. There are techniques like for achieving high availability. So that HA proxy will take care of high availability, right? So that is the scenario. Now, for our discussions, it will be confusing if we discuss about all this. So for our further future discussions, what I will say is, I will say that there will be only one router and one router. There will be only one router. Let us have the discussion. Now, this router should be having some URL so that client can make a request, right? Yes. What should be the URL of the router? Normally, whenever I'm installing Cloud Foundry, I should actually have a domain purchased, right? So what I have done is, in my installation, I have purchased a domain for my installation, right? So let's assume that my domain name is x.com.
Hey viewers, trying to get into DevSecOps? Enroll for our DevSecOps certified professional programs and earn the certification that shows you are fit for these technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
Right? Now, star.sys.x.com will be one URL mapped to router. Star.apps. My domain x.com will be one more URL mapped to router. This URL star.sys. or this URL sys.x.com, we call it as system domain, and apps.x.com we call it as apps domain, application domain. That there will be two domains actually. Normally we use this conventions: system domain, apps domain, right? So both this will be mapped to router, right? So what will be the URL for cloud controller? Actually it will be API dot system domain. That is a URL. In this case, what is my system domain? sys.x.com, right? That will be the URL of cloud controller. So whenever I do a CF push, whenever I fire a command, CF command, the request, the REST API calls will be made to this URL, right? Okay, fine. Now I pushed my name, my app. What is my app name? My app. So the URL to access my application is my app dot apps domain. What is my apps domain? apps.x.com will be my apps domain. So whenever a request goes to my app.apps domain, it will go to router. Router understands that this request has to be routed to an application with name my app. It will use round robin or whatever algorithm to do load balancing and will hit one of our application containers. That is how we can access our application container using the URL. Okay. Hope this is clear. Okay. Any doubts till now? Fine. Again, few more things before I actually jump into the labs, etc. Give you time to push applications. Few more things I'll tell you. Let us talk about BOSH, one more important tool called as BOSH. See here, this BOSH is a tool used by your PCF administrators to install Cloud Foundry. If you are a developer, you may not be using BOSH at all, the tool whatever I'm going to discuss, but understanding about the concepts, I'll spend half an hour or 20 minutes to half an hour on BOSH and the basics of installation. But this time will give you more confidence and visualize. You'll be able to visualize everything. Okay. So let us try to understand how to install. Now let's assume that I am wearing the hat of your admin. I am not a developer. I'm your administrator, and I have to make Cloud Foundry available to you. What all I should do? Oh, Satish, I am not having the control. I didn't mute. Okay, unmute all, I'll say. Oh, no. I don't have a control here. Satish, you want to speak, right? Let me unmute you manually. Okay, I'm not able to see you, Satish. Here. Huh. Yes, I think you're unmuted, Satish. You can speak.
I think he's having hard time since yesterday. He wants to speak and is he's unmuted, but we are not able to hear his voice.
Okay, maybe I'll ask him to check his mic. Okay, I'll continue. Satish, maybe I think your mic is not working. Check with your mic, or if you want to ask any query, please. Yes. So please message me your query. I'll answer your query. Okay. No, Satish, you are not muted. You are unmuted. Your mic is not working properly. I didn't mute anyone. See, I think I can see the icon beside you as unmuted only. Your mic might be having a problem, I guess, Satish.
Yeah, I think everybody can see his mic unmuted, not just you. Yeah, we can also see that.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to go forward, Shiva. I mean, so Satish, if you can hear us and you can just message to Shiva and he can answer your questions.
Satish, you can type your question, Satish. No problem. I'll answer your question. Okay, so let me continue. Okay, so I am a developer. I'm your administrator. Let us see how to install. First of all, before I introduce what is BOSH, let me ask you a simple question. I told you that Cloud Foundry can be installed on top of any infrastructure as service provider, right? Let's assume that I decided to install my Cloud Foundry on AWS. Let's assume that this is AWS. Now what I want is, I want a VM to be created on AWS. What I can do is, suppose I can write some program using AWS API. Of course, as I told you yesterday, right? AWS will be having its own API. I can write any program. Let's assume programmatically I want to create a VM. Okay, I can use AWS API and make a call. So AWS will create a VM for me. But now the same program can I use to create a VM on Google Cloud? Suppose later I decided to create my VMs on GCP, Google Cloud Platform. Will same program work? No, because AWS, our program is using AWS API. Now maybe I need to rewrite my API, my code to use GCP API. So my code is dependent upon the platform. So it will be good if there's a common API for both AWS as well as Google Cloud, right? So actually what they have done is in a tool called as BOSH, initially there will be a component called as CPI, Cloud Provider Interface, right? CPI. Now, if whenever I'm writing code, if I can write my code to use CPI, my code will use Cloud Provider Interface, and this Cloud Provider Interface will talk to the cloud, whether it is AWS or Google Cloud. So as the CPI is a interface, right? Cloud Provider Interface. Actually, there will be different CPIs. AWS CPI, knows how to talk to AWS. GCP CPI knows how to talk to GCP, right? So my code will be, whenever I'm writing my code, I'll be using this CPI. I don't bother about what implementation it is, whether it is AWS implementation or GCP implementation. My code remains same, right? So if I am writing my code using this CPI, the logic to create a virtual machine on AWS or GCP, my logic will be same, right? Okay, keep this in mind. Now let us see how to use BOSH for installing Cloud Foundry. BOSH is a tool for installing Cloud Foundry. So first step, what I have to do is, let's assume that this is my laptop. Okay, this is my laptop. On my laptop, I've installed something called as BOSH CLI, BOSH command line interface. Then through BOSH CLI, what I have to do is, I have to create one more VM where a software called as BOSH is installed. So actually BOSH CLI, we call it as micro BOSH. It also contains some BOSH functionalities. We call it as micro BOSH. By using BOSH CLI, I'll be able to provision this BOSH VM. So I have to give some information how to actually provision this BOSH VM. So what I have to do is, I have to write a YML file which contains a description of what image to use for creating this VM, on what cloud to create, whether it should be created on Google Cloud or so. All the cloud related information, I have to write a YML file and give it as an input to CLI. It will start a VM called as BOSH VM. When I say BOSH VM, this VM will contain a lot of components. I will list the important components. So it will contain something called as BOSH director. BOSH director is nothing but again a REST API. Okay. And one more component inside the same VM called as CPI, Cloud Provider Interface. Now, suppose I am planning to install my Cloud Foundry on Google Cloud, right? This CPI will be GCP CPI. Suppose if I am planning to install on AWS, so this will be AWS CPI. So whenever I'm installing BOSH VM itself, I have to decide what will be my infrastructure provider. So based on my decision, I have to install BOSH for AWS or BOSH for GCP, right? So now let me ask you a simple question. BOSH installation, is it cloud dependent or not? BOSH installation, is it cloud dependent? Yes, there is separate BOSH for AWS, separate BOSH for GCP. What differs is the CPI. Hey, it is just like a question. I'll ask a simple question. Is Java, suppose if you're writing a Java program, is Java platform independent? Java code is platform independent. Once I write my Java code, I can run the same Java code on Windows machine or Linux machine or a Mac machine. So my Java code is platform independent. But what about JRE? JRE is platform dependent, right? You have a separate JRE for Windows, separate JRE for Linux, etc., right? Similarly, BOSH is platform dependent. There will be a separate BOSH for AWS, separate BOSH for GCP, etc. So based on your requirement, you need to install either BOSH for AWS or BOSH for GCP or whatever, right? But from a client perspective, BOSH is cloud independent. Okay. Now there will be BOSH director, CPI, and there will be one more important thing called as health monitor. Okay.
Hey viewers, are you looking for formal training on SRE practices? Take our SRE program. This course will teach you how to successfully implement site reliability engineering in the modern day 24/7 services. Kickstart your SRE training today. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
These are the important things. Now, how did I install BOSH? First step is, in my laptop, I installed BOSH CLI and I wrote a deployment descriptor YML file. And by executing a command on BOSH CLI, it will automatically create a BOSH VM. Then, now, through this BOSH VM, I want to install rest of the VMs of Cloud Foundry. Let's assume simply first requirement. I want to install a VM where cloud controller software will be running. Through BOSH, I want to install this, right? Okay. Now you need to understand some BOSH terminology. Quickly, I'll tell you. Stemcell. In BOSH, you need to understand Stemcell. Stemcell is an artifact of BOSH which contains operating system image and one more component called as BOSH agent. And this is nothing but an artifact, or we can say it's a tar file. Stemcell is nothing but a tar file which contains the operating system image and BOSH agent. And one more thing, BOSH release. BOSH release is again another tar file which contains the software to run inside a VM and along with some scripts. Okay. Now, going back, hey, I want this cloud controller VM to be started through BOSH. Now your question might be, this VM should contain which OS? Maybe Ubuntu OS, let's assume. So what? You need to tell to BOSH, hey, use Ubuntu Stemcell. Stemcell, as I told you, it contains the operating system image as well as BOSH agent. So based on my decision, I need to use a corresponding Stemcell. I need to tell to BOSH, hey, use this. Okay, fine. So once a VM is created using a Ubuntu Stemcell, it will contain Ubuntu operating system, and also one more component will run called as BOSH agent, as I told you, right? My Stemcell, it contains operating system as well as another component called as BOSH agent. So whenever I launch any VM using a particular Stemcell, it will be having a OS and a BOSH agent. Now the BOSH director will wait until the BOSH agent is ready. Then the BOSH director will ask this agent, hey agent, install a particular release. As I told you, release contains the softwares. In this case, what software I want to run inside this VM? Cloud controller software. As I told you, Cloud Controller is nothing but a REST API. I want this REST API to be running. So release is a tar file which contains the software to run in a particular VM, and as I told you, some other scripts which will help you, which will help to run the software, right? So now you understood about what is a stem cell and what is a release. Now, what I want, I have BOSH CLI on my laptop. I have BOSH VM. Now through this BOSH VM, I want to start this Cloud Controller VM. That is my requirement, right? So what I have to do is, again, I need to write one more YML file where I will describe what is the stem cell to be used for creating the VM, what is the release to be used, and all the other details related to cloud, like what all networks, subnetworks, etc. Right? Then use the command BOSH deploy. That's all. Now, before I say BOSH deploy, I need to make my CLI to point to this BOSH director. Once my CLI is pointing to BOSH director, whatever commands I fire from now will go to BOSH director. So what I'll do, I'll execute BOSH deploy command using this YML. The request will go to BOSH director. BOSH director will use the CPI, cloud provider interface, to talk to the cloud, and it will create a VM using a given stem cell, right? So once a VM is created using stem cell, BOSH agent will be running. Then the BOSH director will wait until BOSH agent will be running. Then BOSH agent will ask the BOSH director will ask the BOSH agent, hey BOSH agent, execute this release. So BOSH agent will download the release files, execute the scripts inside the release. So Cloud Controller software will be running. That is how we can install a VM through BOSH. Right. Now I want to install a lot of VMs of Cloud Foundry, right? What I can do is, in a single YML file, I can describe about all the VMs of Cloud Foundry and issue a command BOSH deploy. The request will go to BOSH director. BOSH director will use CPI to actually create all the VMs. Same procedure. All the VMs of Cloud Foundry will be installed. Right? Now, quickly to tell you, BOSH agent will be sending heartbeats. BOSH agent will be running in all the VMs, right? All the VMs there will be BOSH agent. BOSH agent will be sending heartbeats to health monitor. What if the VM crashes? Right? Health monitor will not receive the heartbeats, right? So actually, for health monitor, there will be a plugin called as Resurrector. So if health monitor or health manager does not receive heartbeats from any particular VM, it will use this Resurrector plugin and ask it to restart. Now the Resurrector plugin will talk to BOSH director and ask it to restart a VM, and one more VM will be automatically launched, right? So what is the advantage of installing my Cloud Foundry through BOSH? If any of the VMs of my Cloud Foundry crashes, automatically they will get restarted. That is the advantage of launching using BOSH. Okay, are you able to visualize? Let me know if you have any queries.
Shiva, so to clarify, with here the resurrector is taking care of the entire VMs, but inside the VM, the converger is what is will take care of the cells. Correct?
Wait. Forget about Converger right now. I am talking about the installation of Cloud Foundry. Very good question you raised. In case
No,
of Cloud Foundry,
okay. I'm just trying to
in case of
compare.
Cloud Foundry, Converger will take care of restarting the containers.
Correct. That is what I was
Now,
trying
what
to.
if this whole VM crashes? Any of the VM crashes? Who installed this VM? BOSH.
Okay.
So, if the whole VM crashes, BOSH. Is it? Yeah.
Okay.
If any of the VM of Cloud Foundry crashes, in every VM of Cloud Foundry, there will be BOSH agent which will be sending heartbeats to health manager or health monitor we call. For this health monitor, there is Resurrector as a plugin. This will take care of instructing the BOSH director to restart one more VM. So Resurrector is for the VM level.
Correct. Okay.
For the VM level.
Yeah. That is where I was. That is what I was trying to clarify.
Correct.
Yeah,
Now it is
okay.
clear, right?
Yeah. Thanks, Shiva.
Okay. So actually, if I want to install Cloud Foundry, this is a procedure. Is it not too much? I have to do a lot of things as an administrator. I need to write the YML file. The biggest pain point is writing these YML files. Actually, the YML file for Cloud Foundry installation will be almost 5,000 plus lines. A very big file. If I do a small mistake also, the installation will be gone. So this is the pain point of installation of open source Cloud Foundry. Actually, Cloud Foundry is open source. What Pivotal has done is, Pivotal has taken the open source Cloud Foundry, added some more features to this, some more services to it, rebranding it and selling it as Pivotal Cloud Foundry, PCF. So Pivotal Cloud Foundry is licensed. You will get help from Pivotal. You'll get support from Pivotal. But if you are going with open source Cloud Foundry, you will not get support and help. And PCF is of course having a lot of extra services other than open source Cloud Foundry. Now, if I have to install Pivotal Cloud Foundry, how do I do it? Right? Let me show you step by step how I can install Pivotal Cloud Foundry. Then we will go into actually the developer concepts and where I show you how to push. Actually, if we are completed with this, you'll be able to fully visualize what is happening as a developer also, right? So now, how to install Pivotal Cloud Foundry? Till now, I said how to install open source Cloud Foundry. What are the steps? Now, if I am using Pivotal Cloud Foundry, how it will differ? How it is going to make my life easy, right? So let me show you. Actually, I didn't tell you one thing. Even when I am using open source Cloud Foundry, when I want to install open source Cloud Foundry, first thing is I need to decide on which infrastructure as service provider I want Cloud Foundry to be installed. Let's assume that I decided to install Cloud Foundry on Google Cloud Platform. So what I need to do is, first point, I need to create some networks on Google Cloud Platform. Inside that, I need to create some sub networks. And I need to decide, okay, I want my Google Cloud installation to be done in which region. Let's say I selected US-East 1 is a region. And inside that region, there are a lot of zones, 1B, 1C, 1D. So my installation of Cloud Foundry should be distributed across all the zones. so that my installation will be highly available. So what I need to do is I need to create a network and subnetworks spanning across all these 3 zones. Then I need to create some firewall rules which will decide what will be the inbound traffic, outbound traffic, etc. I need to create some load balancers. I need to create some DNS entries. These all I need to create on Google Cloud Platform manually if I am installing open source Cloud Foundry. Okay. But if I am using Pivotal Cloud Foundry uses a tool called as Terraform. So Terraform has some templates which they have created already. Terraform template files. Templates means what? They contain a lot of configuration already. We need to just replace some placeholders, customize, right? So now what I need to do is I need to use this Terraform templates and give the values for some variables inside these templates, then execute Terraform template, right? So if this is my laptop, on my laptop, what is the first step I will do is install Terraform on my laptop.
Thanks for watching. Want to study further? Join our training programs today.